Good evening everyone, and welcome to the Happy Hubs live tonight on building resilience. I'm just going to give it a few moments while we wait for a few people to join, and then we'll get started with some tips and techniques to help you build that resilience and really start fostering that positive mindset. So if you are joining us, please just drop me a quick like or a comment so that I know that you're here, and then we can start. So that's great. Thank you for those of you that have joined already. That's fabulous. Thank you. So we'll just wait a few moments. I know there's quite a few of you that had expressed interest in listening to tonight. So we'll just give that a second. And if there's anything in particular that you would like me to cover tonight, or any questions that you've got, please do fill in the comments box below and I'll do my best to answer those for you. So just give it a second. So hope you've all had a great day. And for those of you based in the UK, it looks like snow is on the way before the end of the week, so that's certainly a reason to build some resilience, to think about how we can think positively about the weather changing and getting even colder. So thank you everyone for coming tonight, and welcome to the Hub's Facebook Live on how to build resilience. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is 4 different tips to really just start thinking about fostering that positive mindset, with some easy actions for you to take away to try out. And of course I will be recording this and posting this into the Hub, so if you want to come back to it at any point to re-watch it and to listen to it, then you'll have that opportunity to do so as well. So it's a resource that you'll be able to come back to, so there's no need to make any notes, just listen in. And as I said, if you've got any questions or anything that you'd like me to cover tonight, please just drop a comment in the comments box, drop me a like, whatever, so that I know you're there and what you're hearing is making sense. And if anything you're not quite sure about, then by all means just ask. So thank you to everyone that's joined in. So really what I just want to start with is just talking about what resilience is. It's a word that's being bandied around quite a lot at the moment. Lots of organisations at work are using it, and there's a lot of stuff on Facebook, Instagram, all the different social media sites. Lots of stuff, especially at this time of year as well. So next Monday the 16th of January, is what's known as Blue Monday, and it's the day that is suggested that lots of people tend to feel quite miserable or even depressed about the year as the festivities finish, the cold weather sets in, and we start to already think about some of those New Year's resolutions that we're not able to uphold. So just something to share with you. Now, there was an editorial in a British journal of psychiatry back in 2005 that suggested nearly 50% of the population can expect at some point in their life to have some sort of episode of depression, and a lot more people that perhaps don't even have that diagnosed or even reach out for some support. So there's an incredible amount of people out there in the world that do go through situations where they're not quite feeling themselves and unable to build up that resilience. Hi to all of you that said hi, that's great. Thank you very much for the interaction. Fabulous to see you all here. So what I wanted to just share is, what is resilience? And perhaps even for you just to take a moment now to think about, what does the word resilience mean to you? And if any of you want to share that in the comments, please feel free. So just take a moment now. What does the word resilience mean to you? Now for me, resilience is about the ability to bounce back. It's about bouncing back from challenges, experiences that you're having, an ability to cope in different situations, some of which can feel quite stressful. And the key question here is, who are you being during those experiences at the moment, and who do you want to be? So what is it that you perhaps want to feel, want to be able to respond with, want to be able to say? So we have all sorts of different things that challenge us in our lives. It could be, going out and doing the food shop and, for fear of having your ankle taken out by a trolley. Or someone's just added in, coming through the tough times, seeing the end of the tunnel. I love that. Thank you so much, Sam, for that. And that really is what it is. It's about being able to bounce back and try something that makes you feel happier about the situation you're in. So it could be about the shopping, it could even be about, you know, being in the car or the bus or the train on your way to work. It could be about particular situations that challenge you within the work environment or in your home life. And fantastic, this is great to see all these comments as well. Thank you very much. And yes, I'd love to just pick up on that point there, Katie. It is about those influences and how we choose to respond to perhaps the people or the experiences around us as well. So everything we do in life we choose. And so if we surround ourselves by negativity, for example, first thing Monday morning in the workplace, you've got that person who perhaps is really miserable, doesn't even make eye contact or say hello. And so that can be really difficult, because you can almost be sort of drawn in to that sort of environment. Some people call it the mood hoovers, because they literally hoover up all the mood. They take over and really create sort of an uncomfortable environment. So it's about how can we change that perception, how can we make sure that we connect with our inner strength and our inner resilience, not to let that get to us as well. So this is great. Thank you so much for sharing all your comments. And Hayley, it really is so true. You know, negativity from others really can make the difference. So with the Monday morning person, it's whether or not you choose to stay and be with them and in the mood that they're in, or do you choose to change and think about, actually, what do I need? So yeah, so you might want to just take a moment there to just think about, who are the mood hoovers in your life? Who are the ones that perhaps suck out the life of you? If any of you have watched Harry Potter, perhaps they're the Dementors that suck the life out of you and really alter the way in which you're behaving that particular day. So yeah, so I just wanted to start there with what resilience is. And also, as we energy vampires, I love that, Katie. I haven't heard that one before, but that's fantastic. I really like that. So again, just have a think about that. And that's really true. How does it alter your energy levels? How does, when you're not feeling so happy, how does that change your energy, the things that you say, the things that you feel, perhaps even your posture as well? So you will, perhaps even the clothing that you choose to wear will be different depending on how you're feeling. So just something to share before we move on to the tips. Something I was reading recently was that when we think about resilience, it is about the mindset. It's about that heart and the soul and how we bounce back. And many people don't necessarily take seriously that our mind is a really important part of us for us to take care of. Where a lot of the time we spend lots of money on hair and nails and skin and clothing, and we think about all the things that we want to look after, but we don't necessarily look after the mind. You know, we go to the gym in January to take care of the physical body, but when do we go to the mind gym and actually just exercise it in terms of thinking about the way we want to think? So remember, bones grow back, skin regrows, hair regrows, but what about your heart and mind? So hopefully this will give you an opportunity tonight to just think about some different ways that will enable your mind to grow as well. So what I'm going to share with you now is 4 different tips for you to try out, and each of those tips, there'll be a little action for you to take away. And as I said, don't necessarily feel you want to write any of these down. I'm going to post this video after this so that you'll be able to come back in and rewatch it if you want to. By all means, give me a like if we're doing okay so far. Feel free to share the video afterwards as well if you feel there are people that would benefit from it as well. Caring is sharing, and sometimes it really could just reach that one person that really needs it. So let's start with the first tip, which is what I call managing the mind chatter. So inside us all, in our heads, sometimes we have these like little gremlin voices which talk to us in a more negative way. So for example, if we're trying to achieve something, you may hear that tiny little whiny voice in your head that says, well, you can't do that. What makes you think you can do that? You're not good enough. You'll never be able to do that. You can't achieve that. And we all have that. And gremlins do have their place. They can challenge us sometimes. They can help us get more feisty to get what we want. But sometimes we pay too much attention to them. So this first tip is about how much attention do you pay to those little voices that tell you you're not enough, that you can't do it, that you're not big and brave enough. Because here's the thing, thoughts are not facts. They're just the things that you're telling yourself. they're not real. So challenge yourself, stop yourself in your tracks, and when you hear those little thoughts, just take a moment and say, well, what's the truth in that? Because a lot of the time, the thoughts that we're having, we've built up over a long period of time. So actually, are the thoughts that we're going through right now the current perspective, the real situation of what's going on for you? Or is this just a cyclical process of thoughts that you've had in the past, of events or experiences that you've had in the past, and rather than facing it with a new fresh challenge and new vitality, you're going back to how you felt previously. So you're almost putting yourself in a comfort zone that says, actually, I tried to do this before and I couldn't do it, so why should I be able to do it now? So think for a second, perhaps what is the one thing that your little mind gremlin tells you at the moment, and what is it that you really need to say to it to change it? So it is important to notice these gremlins, but it's about not staying with them, but about facing them, saying whatever you need to say to perhaps mute it or shrink it, and moving on. So think about, if it does say to you, actually, why on earth would you be able to do that? Maybe think about, how could you reframe that? How could you change that sentence to be more positive? Oh, I love that, Katie. Don't let bad tenants live rent-free in your head. That's fabulous. And it's so true, isn't it? The gremlins are there and they will pop up from time to time, but it's whether or not you choose to let them have like a little party up there, or whether or not you choose to remain in control. So that's my first sort of little action for you to go away, is for you to go away and notice, when do those gremlins show up and what is it they're saying, and actually, is it the truth? So yeah, kick them out, shrink them, turn the volume down, whatever it is that you need to do, and actually ask yourself, what is the truth in that right now? So that's my first tip. Manage the mind chatter, and the action for you to go away and think about listening to them, and perhaps even having a little notepad or using the notes function on your phone that allows you to think about whether or not that's really real. Okay, so the second one is about understanding our why. So it's thinking about values. Values is something I've spoken about before, and all of us have our individual values that make us and shape us and very much guide us through life. And when we feel valued and living on purpose, we feel like we're quite aligned with our values. And when we're feeling demotivated or despondent, then something's normally being stepped on. So again, I would encourage you to spend some time, grab a cup of tea or a coffee, and just sit down and think about, what are my values? How is it I live my life? What do I want to uphold? And maybe even think about, what are your top 5 values? So for me, my top value is honesty. And I know that if I feel, a little bit frustrated with a situation, is it because perhaps that value is being trodden on, or it's not being honoured by somebody else, and that can still affect me as well. So take a few moments to just write down your values, name that top 5, and think about what's important to you. And see, when we start thinking about what's important to us in terms of our values and our overall life purpose, why are we here in the world? What do we want to achieve? What do we want as the impact for ourselves and those around us? Then actually resilience can be built when we connect to that bigger picture. Oh, absolutely. Treating others with the same respect I want for myself. That's so important, isn't it? And remember what that feels like when that doesn't happen. And we can feel quite despondent. And again, it's building up that resilience that if that does happen, how can you pick yourself back up again? And in the sense of values, it's important to remember that values that you hold may not be held by other people. And it's about respecting that they may not have those same values, but how you deal with that yourself. So again, building up that resilience to really own what you have, but be able to respect that others may not have the same, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be treated differently. So take some time to really question and reaffirm, what is it that makes you happy? What is it that makes you smile? Oh, I'm loving these. These are fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. Integrity, love, compassion, empathy, brilliant. Oh, trust. Very, very important one for me. And think about those, and actually think about, if you were to make a list of all the things that you do every day versus all the things that you want out of life, how aligned are those two lists? Do they actually align with your values? Do they align with your purpose? And do they make you smile? So again, the action from this second one is to write down your values and think about how much you're honouring them right now, and perhaps what you might need to change or alter for the future as well. So that's your second action. So the third one is what I call name it. And this is about getting in touch with what's going on for you. So having a think about when you're in a situation or an experience where you're not feeling so great and you don't feel you're handling it particularly well, what's actually going on? What is the emotion that you're actually feeling? Is it frustration? Is it anger? Is it sadness? And by actually naming it, it means we can actually really truly get in touch with that emotion and connect with it and then process it to move forward. And that's what can help with the resilience. If we choose not, and I use the word choose again there, if we choose not to be with that emotion and to really connect with it and almost to shuffle it to one side, it is still going to sit there and it's going to fester, and it may manifest in other ways. Perhaps physically you may get pain in your body, you may find yourself getting really tired as well, you may find you become disinterested in things that you do and a real lack of motivation, and almost like living your life in black and white and not really noticing the colour, or like on the TV. So really identifying with that emotion allows you to process it. So again, the action from this one is really to take a moment and think about, when you're in that situation, what is the emotion? Name it, feel it, get in touch with that connection and that feeling, and then to process it and move on. So for example, I was on the train a few weeks back. I was sitting there really quietly trying to read my book, and these really loud people got on, sat in the seats opposite me, and were really, really loud, and I could feel that something wasn't quite right. It wasn't sitting with me, and I really needed to own that I was really feeling quite angry. I really felt that my quiet space had been invaded on a public train, but I still felt I'd been invaded in terms of the peacefulness that I had before they got on. And by allowing myself to just connect with that anger, I was able to just accept it, name it, and then deal with it and let it dissolve back down again. Because actually, if I reframed at it and looked at it another way, these people that got on were clearly in a really engaging conversation with each other. They were really articulating and really talking about what they wanted, and actually there's nothing better than the beauty of friendship. So there was a real shift for me there in terms of appreciation, and just appreciating that I've been able to witness that, and then sort of moving back to my book and being able to really get back in. So there's just one simple example there of how you could do that. And the other thing I wanted to share with this one is that you can try the silver rain shower. I know that's something I've shared before, but for those of you that perhaps may not have seen my lives or heard that before, is in order to get in touch with that emotion, once you've been able to connect with it, is just to imagine that there is a silver rain shower that is going down from your head all the way down your body, through your shoulders, through your spine, all the way down to your toes, which is helping you just dissolve the emotion that you're with. And that can literally just take a minute to do, so it's something you could very easily do. For example, if you've got young children and they're being particularly challenging on this day, and perhaps not really doing what you want them to do, the silver mind shower is something that you can stand there and do just for 1 minute, that allows you to calm yourself down, gather a different perspective, and still be able to watch the child, or do what it is that you need to do. Perhaps you're getting frustrated in a queue to pay for something, whatever, you're still able to do this, and actually most people won't know you're doing it. So it's a really quick thing that you can do that still allows you to change that perception as well. So that's the third one. Name it, be with it, and connect with it, and then move on and let it dissolve from you. So the fourth one is about visualization and mindset. Now, mindset's something I talk quite a bit about, and it's really thinking about who do you want to be in that experience. So when we talk about resilience, and like I said at the beginning, what does resilience really mean to you? What do you want it to mean for you, and how do you want to be? So what is it that you want to be able to do in certain situations? What is it that you want to be able to say? What is it that you want to be able to feel? You know, what is your personal resilience strategy? And for this, you might like to just start thinking about the one thing that you tend to get quite frustrated about quite regularly, and maybe just try this resilience practice with that one thing to start with. And really think quite a big picture with this. So think about your posture, how you're sitting or standing when you want to be more resilient. What language do you want to be able to use? Perhaps you want to alter your language slightly. So do you tend to become more negative vocally as well as hearing the gremlins? Do you tend to say things more negatively? So do you need to switch that around? And what behaviours happen when you have a lack of resilience? So do you tend to go more into yourself? Do you tend to argue with people? Do you tend to be more vocal? Do you tend to go really quiet? What is it that you do? Maybe you hide yourself away. Perhaps you need to play really loud music. So just start to notice what those behaviours are as well. And in order to switch that, what you might want to do, and this is the action for this fourth one, is think about a time when you felt really strong. Think about a time when you felt really in charge and really able to deal with a situation. And think about how were you behaving during that time? What were you saying? What were you feeling? Perhaps what were you wearing as well? So really just get that overall picture and connect with how that felt, how that sounded, who was with you, so that you could reconnect with that feeling again. So if you had to almost like have an inner superhero that would come out at a challenging time, what would that be to you? How would you name it? Perhaps there's a particular mantra you need to say, or a particular line from a song, or for some reason I kept having the phrase "keep the faith" in my head all day today, and I have no idea why. But it kept coming back. It was almost like this mini mantra for resilience that I didn't even know I needed today. So have a think about what is it that you say to yourself in strong situations, and think about how you could bring that forward next time you feel you need it. So there we go, we have the 4 tips. So managing the mind chatter, understanding your why, naming it, and then visualising it and thinking about that mindset that you want to have. But you know, the most important thing that I wanted to share with you guys tonight was, don't judge yourself. You know, your mind will wander. You may need to refocus. You may need to just notice and redirect your thoughts. It's all part of life. We're not superhuman. We all have times where we think things aren't going so well, and it is about how we develop those resilient strategies to bounce back. So be kind to yourself. You know, celebrate the successes. Celebrate when your resilience works and it's fantastic and you feel it. But also connect with the gratitude and really practice self-compassion as well. So, you know, this is going to take a bit of time to get used to and to try out. So, you know, be kind to yourself, and if it doesn't work the first time, it doesn't mean it's not going to work again. So try it out. And just see which of those different tips work for you, and try them out in different situations for different lengths of time. You might even just want to start with the silver rain shower just occasionally to do that, just to settle yourself down and practice a bit of mindfulness as well. But you know, the most important thing about tonight is be happy to be you, because you're an incredible human being and we all face lots and lots of different challenging situations. And the fact that you've shown up on this live tonight, and thank you so much to all of you that have thrown me some thumbs up and some hearts and some comments, is absolutely fantastic. Shows that you guys are already much more resilient than you realise, because you're showing up here tonight recognising to yourself that sometimes you want a bit of a helping hand and you do want to change your mindset. So rather than just completely, you know, ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist or hiding it under the carpet, you're saying, do you know what, I want to be the best person that I can be, the best version of myself, and to do that I want to make myself even more resilient than I already am. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope that those 4 tips you'll be able to try out. Please do come back to me if you've got any questions, or if you're struggling with any of the aspects. I'm more than happy to answer questions. As I said, give me some thumbs up, some likes, so I know you're still there, and feel free to share this, and please do put any other comments in. And thank you again, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. So have a lovely evening, guys, and remember to be kind to yourself. You probably just bubbled up quite a lot of thoughts, so remember that self-compassion tonight, and remember to always be happy to be you. Okay, take care. Bye.